On the way in, my friends. Look at this place, huh? Insanity. So welcome to my studio. My name's Chris, and this is Machete Comics. Alright, so as you can see there's
Sorry.
there's our first 3 issues of Skeletron. Woo! The flagship comic from Machete Comics. And that is what I do. I am a comic book artist. I'm located in Kingston, Ontario. Gotta make sure I get all my questions answered in here for my friends. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. So I am located in Kingston, Ontario, Canada. Just to throw Canada in there because I'm Canadian, eh? And I draw comic books. So I sit right about here. And it's always a mess around here. But that's what I do. I draw comic books. I have 3 available right now. The title is called Skeletron. If you want to learn more about it, you go to machetecomics.ca. And I must add that I love being a comic artist. So I'm very old school in what I do. I was trained at the Joe Kubert School, the legendary Joe Kubert School. If you don't know what that is, Google it. You'll be impressed. So I was there in the 90s. I am a Gen Xer. My stomping ground was the 80s, and I loved it. I had a really good time. I think it reflects in a lot of the work I do these days. I use pencils. I still have, I keep all my pencils as well. Anything I've done pencil-wise, here's something I'm working on. I'll show you really quickly. Boom, but really quickly because that's being paid for, commission. All right, so I use pencils and I use ink. Now, I don't use the old brush. I do use these new brushes that are in there. And the ink is all in there. But it's the same as the old style, it's just not as messy. And you're not using like the old school brush, which was kind of a pain in the ass, right? The other thing that you should really have is a mug. Not a glass, not a bottle, but a mug. And nobody can tell what's in here. Yeah, tequila and energy drink today. Okay, so the comic book that I have available and the style of art that we do here mainly at Machete Comics is described as classic, okay? We use a black and white and a gray tones. As you can see, there's not a ton of computer going on except for the letters and such and some of the backgrounds in the work we do. So I have, it's called a throwback kind of comic book art. I do still enjoy the new style I buy them that are over computerly enhanced. Polite way to put it, I believe. I go for more of the old school. So nothing wrong with the new style, but if you wanted the old school, I'm here for you. Okay, that's the kind of thing I do. It's like a dark humor, very dark humor in this, very serious but very dark humor in the story that we have going on here. It's based in Kingston, so there's the style of my artwork. I love Jack Kirby. Mark Farmer was another one of my favorites. Inker. I just love the old style. I'm old school. I'm Gen Xer.
He's muted. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, you were unmuted. Or you were muted. I wasn't.
Okay, we're good. We're good. Hey, buddy, how's it going, man?
I'm going good. I was just watching it on the socials. It's a thing. You're doing a thing.
Did you see the cat? Isn't that
I saw
cat cool?
The cat was rad. You're doing a thing, man.
That's
Look
just
at
the
this.
intro there. So there we go. That's the intro. So hello, planet Earth. This is myself. This is Chris Machete Cochran and my best friend buddy Brenton H. Donnelly III.
You know, I did a little bit of retro shopping this weekend.
What'd you do?
I found this old mug.
Oh wow, yeah, our old show, right? Our
I
old
found this-
show that we did last week.
I found this old mug. I got it for 25 cents down the street. So I was like, gotta get it.
I heard those are going for $20 on eBay.
Yeah, well, they will be after this show.
I think we should start fashioning like beer steins, beer mugs.
Well, dude, that was rad. What a fun intro, and there's a whole new background there. It's live from Machete Comics. It's rad. So go for it, man. This is your baby.
That's what we're doing now, right? So,
Yes.
so what we're gonna do today is we're going to hit all our subjects, all our topics, all our flavors, if you will, that we are going to be discussing, because we are going to keep it to this regiment, right, my friend? We are going to keep it to these subjects that we have. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes our subjects may be taking up the whole show because we have conspiracy theories, we have indie music, we have movie gems, and these are things that you and I are going to dive into. And I would really like to let's get going here because you're going to see. I really want to inform the audience on some things that you and I have the inside scoop on. One of them being indie music.
Sure.
Another thing being just the classic films that everybody's relating to nowadays. When we hit our screen gems today, Brent, I'm going to mention right now that the state that Marvel's in with all their movies, there's a few movies that were good back in the day that nowadays you watch and are really good, you know, compared to what's going on now. They're actually filmed in a location with actual trees behind them and stuff. It's amazing that they did that at one time, my friend. Do you remember those ones?
I do remember those times. I do remember seeing things. And on the last incarnation of the show, we had the guys from Bucketheads on, and those guys film in the forest. That was cool.
I like that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very cool. It's good to have a bit of old school, you know, to the thing. The CGI is fun and everything, but it's taken away from a lot of stuff.
Well, I think that from a film director, writer's point of view, saying, yeah, okay, we'll just put it in front of the green screen and we're going to throw this in later. Oh, man. Or, okay, man, we're going to scout this location. This looks beautiful. Because, anyway, I'll expand on this when we hit film gems.
Sure.
Because, as I say, I really want this show to be clever. I really want to be nerdy and clever and show and expose gems, man, because there's a lot of them out there. You know, everybody's saying Marvel sucks, it's all garbage. There are gems out there, my friends, and Brent and I are going to find them from DC and from Marvel. Just quickly before we jump in, Brent, have you seen Black Adam?
I have. Absolutely.
Okay, I haven't seen it yet. It's going to be on shortly, and I would like to talk about that later. Would you can you do a spoiler-free review on that? Or...
I can say we touched on it a little bit before, but I can say this: I thought it was done really well. There's a lot of shit going on about it right now because James Gunn has basically taken over the franchise and eliminated it, and there won't be another one. So that's a bit of a thing. I'm sure you've been spoiled on a few things.
Not really. That's the thing about Black. I don't know much about what's going on in the movie.
Do you know the end credits? The end credits or anything like that? Did you hear about the end credits or anything like that? Okay. So
you probably mentioned it to me, actually.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought The Rock did a great job with it. It's a violent, it's a Deadpool-y kind of vibe without the swearing and without the kind of like over the topness. But he's an asshole. He just wants to destroy and kill people. Right? He doesn't. It takes him a long time to get wrangled in. At that point, he's just like, I'm this powerful guy that's just going to destroy everything. And there's a great line in it that doesn't ruin anything, but there's a great line where it's like you can solve the world's problems or you can be the world's problem. Basically, there's like, you know, it's a cool.
Hello, government.
I really liked it. If it was an entry into DC, and they were starting with this, and they were kind of building around it and going and in that, then I was like, good job, because you have, to me, that's two in a row. You had Batman, which was great. The Batman, which is great. You got this, the Joker. They all don't tie together, but good efforts by DC, I would say.
Wow. So being Machete Comics DC guy, what is that? What they're doing? Are they scrapping? Oh, well, let's get to that. We'll get to that after Greg, man.
Yes, I am Greg. The DC guy.
So I'm saying though, I'm not privy to this.
They're getting rid of
scrapping.
They're scrapping everything. They're scrapping everything. He's starting over. Basically, they're trying to find a new Superman. They're trying to find a new everything, and so they're not making a new.
Do or do not, right, Brent? Do or do not. There is no try.
Yeah, they don't. There's not going to be. For at least the early reports out are. There's not going to be a new Wonder Woman. They're not moving ahead with that Wonder Woman. They're not moving ahead with Superman. They're not moving ahead with any of the Snyder stuff. And they're going to start from scratch. Gunn has an idea in his head about where he wants it to go. And the big controversy was that there was, with Black Adam, that this was going to start launching this. Basically, they're like, we're launching it with this. And then they're like, but now Gunn's in charge and he doesn't want to, so we're not anymore. It was kind of like Spider-Man to me. It was like when they relaunched like Spider-Man, but then they did it with that Garfield guy, and they relaunched it
I
again,
did
and then they
too, and
relaunched
then
it again. It's almost like they're just skipping on themselves, and
or that
yeah,
last X-Men movie, the last X-Men movie
yeah,
that really didn't matter, right?
yeah. So they're getting rid of the thing. They're getting rid of it. So
Wow.
yeah, you know, heavy metal soundtrack.
Oh,
Yeah,
wait. What? Yeah. So 1 second. I think the best soundtrack for a cartoon movie ever, pre-digital BS, was the heavy metal movie soundtrack. Sammy Hagar set. Are you kidding me? Who said that? Because that is like my jam.
RB. I don't know who RB is.
RB, buddy. Yeah. Cheers, my friend. Holy cow! And I've been watching that generation of animation lately to kind of get me. As I
Yeah.
said in, I don't know if you watched the intro. If you want to digitalize everything, that's fine. But I'll be over here doing the old ink style, like Jack Kirby and Mark Farmer and all
Well,
the
that's why I
old
think
greats.
I love Invincible so much and Archer so much. It's like that Archer's that old school GI Joe animation, and Invincible
Yeah,
is sort of in that Super Friends, Superman early kind of '80s animation. I'm loving it, loving it, loving
it is cool, right? Yeah,
it.
like I love that old style. I was even watching like some old Fritz the Cat stuff going on with that.
Yeah.
But so the soundtrack though too, yeah, like holy cow, the soundtrack to heavy metal.
But
See,
in to your point though, dude, or sorry, coming back to that to DC,
yeah, sorry,
he
see,
is no, but he is
heavy
completely
metals.
revamping it, and they're going to start fresh, which is interesting to me. But they are moving ahead with the Joker movie, and that's not going to live within that universe either. So it's a very interesting time.
That's wild. Okay, so our Batman that was just in there, I'm blanking on his name.
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Patterson. So that's it for him.
I don't think so. I think they're going to move ahead. I think they're going to build around him. I'm just saying, like, I don't think your Justice League is going to exist the way it did. I don't think,
Mm.
I think they may move ahead with
Henry's gone because
Robert
I know
Pattinson.
he's going to be Captain Britain in Marvel now, right?
Yeah, so I think that like you've got this, and this is where it's going to get really confusing for you watching Black Adam because you're like, why are they introducing this person? Why are they? Well, at the time they didn't know
But
James Gunn.
Hawkman's in there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and they didn't know James Gunn was going to take this thing over.
That's too bad
So
because
it was
James
kind of
Gunn is
like,
awesome.
yeah, and they made this thing, and there's a big fight between him and The Rock because I think, well, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a bunch of stuff going on in that movie. I liked it. I thought it was cool. He's
But
evil as
now it
shit.
means nothing, right? Like now continuity wise, and what has been DC's biggest problem that we've both
Continuity
agreed
the
on?
whole way. I mean, the
Continuity.
three Batman movies were cool, but then they should have done something with, I know they wanted to go a new direction with Affleck and all the rest of it, but I don't know.
You'd think like James Gunn is brilliant. I love his mind. You'd think he would have been able to kind of like walk in there knowing I got to at least keep it legit and work with some of the stuff that I enjoy that's been going on.
Yeah.
That's tough too, I guess. Going in, do I clean house and start with my fresh view, or do I try and
Most
keep their biggest?
CEOs do, man. They bring their own people in. He wants to
Yeah,
start with a fresh Superman story, a fresh everything story. So, but I think
yeah.
they could potentially build around the Batman because it's the same kind of age group, right?
Well,
He's
what
like
about the Joker? Because we got the Joker coming out with
he
what's
has
her
an
name there?
opportunity now. He has an opportunity now to potentially try to tie them in. I'm not convinced he's going to do
So
it, but
isn't there a Joker 2 coming out though,
yeah,
buddy?
there is, yeah.
Okay, so and what's the details on that?
Well, unfortunately, I've heard that I think they're going to put Gaga in as Harley Quinn.
Right. Yeah, I've heard that as well. Yeah.
Which I don't hate her
I've
as
seen
an actress.
photos.
I liked Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. Like bring her
Mm.
along. But anyways, and yeah, I think they're gonna play a little bit more on this Joker army, and I'm not sure
I like
exactly
that.
where that's coming from, my friend. Like what part of it? Because I just got this the other day, as you're well aware, and I need to
Okay, let's
read.
see your DC comics.
Well, I just got this the
Oh,
other
dude, I
day.
have those, but that's the trade paperback. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I just got it the other day, and it was like,
Did you read it?
I haven't opened it yet. No, because I wanted to wait
Oh,
to show you. But I
okay.
mean, I'm wondering
Wait
if
till you
they're
read that,
if they're gonna pull a story out of there.
dude.
Um,
Try and put that down once you start reading it.
yeah, I
As a
know.
DC Joker Batman fan,
And then
because I got it like issue 1, then had to wait a month, then I got issue 2, and yeah, I couldn't
and then
wait to pick up the
they
next
did
one.
these reissues, obviously, but I had to do it because it was only $2. But it was the Death of
Oh, it's a
Superman, obviously.
reissue, is it?
It's a
Okay.
reissue, yeah, because
Okay.
the originals are impossible to find, but it's a reissue and it's really cool. Um, and
Can
then
you grab that? Oh, never mind. It's okay.
yeah, and then there's a new series that started that I definitely wanted to check out. So it's
Oh,
called
really? Something new.
Batman and the Joker, the Deadly Duo, and it's very cool. They're all variant covers. So this is the first. This is
Oh
the
wow, that's nice. I love the Virgin covers without
right.
the logo on the top, right? Those are
So
sweet.
that's book one, and
Okay, wait,
then
so that's a brand new book.
well, it says it's variant, but I haven't. One
No,
second.
was that in the new section or was
It
that
was
like
in the brand
reading?
new section. Yeah, you can see though it does say
Price on that?
variant cover on it, but it
Oh,
was
it's
like
beautiful. I'm just curious. What's the price on a brand new DC comic?
it was like
I don't buy DC, right?
three
Like
bucks,
I don't.
$3,
Pardon me?
something like that.
No, it's got to be more than $3.
I don't know what it was. I
Come
don't
on,
think
dude.
it
It's
was.
got to be more than $3. We'll wait. We'll wait.
Maybe
It's got to
four.
be more than $3.
Maybe
I'm
like
thinking it's $5.99.
$4.99.
So $4.99 American.
Yeah,
So that would Canadian. That would be
probably $5. Yeah, like 5.50 or something. But I
5.99.
don't think it was that. So that's anyways. I saw this series and I'm like, okay, I got to pick it up. And the artwork in it is deadly.
I'm not
And,
dissing the price. I'm just it's amazing a lot of people who haven't bought in comics or who aren't privy. When you tell them the price of new comics, dude, they're gonna be like, "What the hell?" Again, look at that cover, right?
And that's
See, a lot of people do not open them. They're artwork. They're pieces of art. And
it
when you
really
get those
is.
variant covers, right, buddy?
And this is a variant cover, but the artwork on the inside, I was thinking about you right away because it's exactly what you like. Ready?
Mm.
Stand by.
Oh wow, it's a nice black and white artwork with the gray tones. Oh, I love that stuff.
Right? There is some color in here, but they kind of the style is exactly what I love. It's like the old Ninja Turtle style.
It's the vibe, man. You
Okay.
put a vibe in there with that kind of thing, right? Yeah, that's cool.
So
Nice inking.
very, very cool. And I picked them up.
Tracers,
And I
man.
haven't read them up. Yeah, haven't read them up yet. And just for fun, for the sake of fun and adding to it, and I know this is sticking. We're getting off the DC thing, but I had to go back to my buddy, who I haven't bought one in a while. But here you go.
Oh, I have that.
Yeah, I just picked it
Oh,
up.
dude, that series is great. The new Ghost Rider is very underrated. You know the funny thing is they keep pulling it. They'll start for 3 issues, then pull it.
Well, I loved it. I thought it was great. I'm a Ghost Rider fan. If I'm anything in Marvel, I'm a Ghost Rider fan. So there you go.
Nice. Okay, buddy. Who would you cast as a new Ghost Rider? You know they're going to bring him out. Who do you put in there?
Ooh. Well, that kid that played Elvis would be pretty cool.
Right?
I think that kid that played Elvis would be a great Ghost Rider, actually.
My mom agrees.
Yep. I think he's got some chops there. If he'd stop talking like Elvis, that'd be great. But because he's
That
like,
would
"Oh,
actually be a funny little glitchy head.
Did you win something? Yeah, man, it was great, man. Yeah, yeah. Like he's
That would actually be pretty funny.
yeah,
And-
but
and
I
even-
think he'd be a great. I think he'd be a great.
Well,
Ghost
how
Rider.
funny would it be that he follows off the guy that last played Ghost Rider, who had that Elvis obsession, right? And then the
I know,
kid who
Nick.
plays Elvis, Nick Cage. Yeah, that he even can't get.
So
into
maybe
that.
they won't do that. I don't know.
Whole other story there, right? Okay, dude. So there anything else to add about DC and what the F's going
No,
on?
that I don't know what's going. I'm following as best I can, but from what I see, they're breaking the whole thing down and starting over. But they do have a
Cool.
few things in the can to keep us
Right.
kind of like standing by.
One thing I would love you to look in for me is if they're continuing with Titans, because I love that Titans series.
I think the
man.
cartoons, from what I've been told, all the cartoons.
not
oh,
Teen Titans.
Sorry. The
live
Titans
action.
on the live action thing.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one because that's ordered by. I don't want to say it's a Netflix production or WB, but it's kind of like done through. Like I think it's done a little separate of all this. I think
Okay.
your movies are going to be interesting. They're talking about
It's very mature.
They're talking about bringing the Ezra kid back as the Flash, which
I know.
I
You
thought was a
can't do
bit of a
that.
no. But anyways, so there's
Again,
a bit
that's like a whole other episode right there. That's one of our conspiracy theory things because Holy
So,
crap, yeah.
I'm stoked. I mean, I'm anything James Gunn. I'm good. I think
Right, but
it's-
starting over again with DC is such a headache. And I'm not like I like DC. I respect DC. I don't love DC, but my biggest problem was continuity. And now we're like, okay, erasing it, moving on. You know what I mean? But I'm getting the sign from our producer here that we have to move on. Okay, so that's awesome though. So so look into Titans for me if you could.
I
That'd
will.
be really, really
I'll
cool.
look into that. Yeah.
So Brent, you know what we're going to talk about now?
Where do you want to go?
We're going to lizard people. Do you know the
Lizard
whole
people.
thing? Do you
Like
know the
V,
whole,
like the show V.
Yeah, kind of. Do you know the whole conspiracy deal that we're being run by lizard people? That they're kind of interrogating and also infiltrated the government, the entertainment. You must have heard that conspiracy.
I've heard
theory,
this. I've heard it before, and the V was awesome for that because it would, everyone was like lizard people.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm out.
I'm going to take it a step further, and
Sure.
these are celebrities that I am 98% sure are reptilian.
Okay.
Do it. Okay, now on my research, you made me laugh. Let me laugh. Now on my research, I have discovered that you got to bring me up full because I'm going to laugh at Brent. He's making me laugh. That's a good intro, though, right?
That's great.
Come on, we're live. Bring me up full. I'm ruining the effect here. I got to stay.
Here, I'll bring you up full. There you go.
Thank you. Okay, there we go. Okay. She's laughing too. Lonnie, you just pulled me out of being on full. Okay. Okay. Celebrities that we are 98% sure are lizard people. Trust me. You're doing it again. What are you doing? Tell me why.
That's me.
All right. That's you. Okay. Celebrities we are 98% sure are lizard people. Now, upon my research, I have discovered that mostly when you see and are aware of these lizard people, they've infiltrated spots that they shouldn't have. Okay. They're the political folks that aren't quite as suave or swift as they are or should be. And we have celebrities, okay, that really aren't that talented. Ladies and gentlemen, Beyonce. Let's show a picture of Beyonce. Okay, you tell me. I don't know. I think. Okay, let's go back to me.
Yeah, I'd say.
Okay,
that's,
that's Brett. Let's go back to
that's
me.
Hi, how are you?
Now here's the thing. So she's at the height of her career here in her industry.
Correct.
My cat has written lyrics that are better than hers. I think possibly the Meow Mix song is meow 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 is better written than a Beyonce lyric. Now that, from my research, is a big sign that she could possibly 98% be a reptilian. Be okay. Not what she appears. Now I got one more photo here I'd like to show you, Brent. Now you tell me, man. You tell me. Dude, what's that? Dude, you know what that is? That's reptilian.
That's reptilian.
That's reptilian.
Does this mean, because we're going to talk about music eventually, but does this not mean, if she's not writing appropriate lyrics, does that mean that she's
No, I'm saying she's writing bad lyrics.
Right, but
I'm saying that
she's surrounded by other lizard people writing for her as well. Because these people are writing.
That's a great question. See,
they're diving into songwriting groups now.
Okay, go. What did you suggest there? Because that was pretty rad. So you think that?
Well, she's a smart businesswoman. So I would say a wager she's the smartest. So, I'm an ancient alien theorist. So for me, I'm like, we'll stick her over here because maybe she's guided by a little lizard alien scenario. Totally get it. But she's going to write songs. Is she writing her own songs? I'm not sold that she's writing her own songs.
Is she writing the lyrics? Because they're really bad.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Potentially,
there's
some lyrics there. There's some lyrics there that are bad, obviously. But
some.
Well, yeah. But what I'm saying is that she's going to be surrounded by other lizards. If this is the case, I mean, does she hang out with humans or does she hang out with other lizards?
From from my research, they're inserted.
Oh, so she's like hanging out with regular people, and we're like, "Hey, B," and she's like, "What up?" Like doing one of those things,
dude. It's all this.
Okay, all right. I'm just checking.
I'm from my research. Dude, they don't want us to know, and they really don't want the people around them to know. I'm thinking that Jay-Z is maybe some kind of alien, possibly, or robotic person. He definitely has a heart of steel, so that would explain him being a robot. It could just be my opinion on
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm
The
thinking.
lizard thing is interesting for me. It's a stretch. I'm with you because it's your show and you want to go down the conspiracy side. The lizard thing for me makes about as much sense as the Scientology thing, and makes. But I'm not saying it doesn't exist and that people don't believe in it. I'm saying it's just it's a very interesting conspiracy
I'm
theory.
not 100% sure. How sure am I, Lonnie? All right, so there's many more I'm going to bring up. I think I should focus more on Canadian ones on the next. I got a couple. There was twins I was going to bring up that were Canadian, but
Every
Beyonce was just,
week, every week there will be the new lizard person of the week. Correct?
it'll be quick. It'll be quick. It'll be quick.
All
But I
right.
think we'll focus. Hey, and if my friends have any, yeah, Ashley, cheers. Yeah, right.
Is
Ashley,
Ash here?
questions, Ashley, or if you would like to come on the show and expose any celebrities that you feel
Yeah.
are lizard people, I'm behind you 100%, Lindsay. Let's expose these celebrities, especially the Canadian ones that have infiltrated our system. Okay, cheers, Lindsay. Now let's
That's
move
Ash
on.
Lindley.
Pardon
You're
me?
getting confused by the thing
Ashley,
there.
Lindsay. I'm sorry. I was looking at this. Ashley. Sorry, Ashley. I'm moving too quickly. Okay, so I'm
Anyways.
getting at the side here. I'm getting like, move quicker, move quick. Okay, so because we got to get this all in an hour, right, dude?
We do.
Okay, so moving right along. Next time we do this, it's going to be more like focused on certain parts of the episodes. Like the next episode might be 45 minutes of the conspiracy theory. But what I'm trying to do, and I apologize, is get through all these subjects so you know what you're going to be in for.
That's right.
It's like pulling the slot machine. I'll let you know, though. It could be totally focused. Cheers. It could be totally focused on the indie music, could be totally focused on movies, but I'm trying to get through all these. And I'm having too much fun talking to my buddy Brent because I don't see him very often. Okay. So conspiracy theories, we're in here? We're in here. Bob. One at the end, there's my favorite. Isn't that awesome? Okay. Dude. Now, I mentioned this to you before. So, you know what's funny, Brent?
I'm scared, man.
Yeah, I know, right? So, here's the thing, and this is very strange for me. You know me, I love to party, right? Love to drink, love to expand my mind with chemicals and such like that in the past. You know what I'm getting a buzz off of these days, buddy?
Conspiracy theories.
Information.
All right. What's that line? What is the when you control the mail, you control information.
Control information. I love it. Bob Lazar, dude.
Bob Lazar. Let's go.
So let me just again. This is gonna something I would love to spend an hour on. Okay, this guy has got. Okay, imagine being asked to work for Area 51. Boom.
Brad.
Okay, so this guy this is an 80s kid, late 80s kind of thing. This is it. You got to watch this, friends. This is on Netflix, I believe, Lonnie. It's on Netflix. Please watch this. I'm asking you as a human being to watch this because it enhances intelligence. It enhances the fact that if we fight less and create more, we're gonna live longer. We're gonna be happy. We're gonna save money. We're gonna expand on things that make us happy. That's what I'm getting from Bob Lazar, is that if we think more and fight less, we are going to succeed. And this is what I got from Bob Lazar. And this is the high I got from listening to this guy talk, man. Now, here's the thing, Brent. Back in the day, the government would make people who saw UFOs and anything strange feel like the worst people in the effing world. They would ostracize them. They would visit them. The media would make, the government says that they're lying. Watch us make this guy look like a quack. The poor guy holding that balloon up from the original one in Roswell. It's a weather balloon. So nowadays, as I keep referring back to, the government has now said that aliens, UFOs are real. We have found crafts. It's all legit. All the people that were ostracized all these decades.
All the people kicked out of Blink 182.
Dude, but it's just because I feel it's I connect to this for some odd reason. I don't know why, but I really connect to these people. Maybe it's because I've had to hide my love for comic books. I don't know. Bob Lazar created a bicycle. He put a jet on it. Let's see the picture. Look at this guy, man. Now the government hid this stuff. All right,
Jeez,
1977. Bob Lazar of blah 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 Martha Street, Woodland Hills, California, was the third man to power his bike with the G8 220 jet engine. Dude.
57 miles an hour.
Over 57 miles per hour. However, Bob claims he can reach 65 miles after biffing up the bike structure. That's the guy. After biffing up the bike structure, that's the guy I want to have a beer with.
Look at the shirt too,
dude.
He was on it.
Fuel tank. Well, this is late 70s probably because. Or early 80s, because
you have a picture.
Oh, sorry, 1977, right? I'm sorry.
You've got a picture with that shirt on, Chris. I've seen it.
I do.
Yeah. Dangerous Dorothy and Gracious Gary got one in the closet right now of you in that shirt on that same bike.
Sidebar. Dangerous Dorothy and Gary invited us over for dinner last night, and the last half hour conversation is what I'm about to tell you.
All right.
This is how passionate I am about Bob Lazar. Hopefully my folks watch this documentary. Okay. So the government sees this and they're thinking, okay, we've got to hire some people that think outside the box. So they hire Bob Lazar on, and in 1989, he's working for them. And there's a whole bunch of story here that, long story short, they lay him off. Okay. So he figures, oh, wow, they're getting rid of me. I'm getting worried. So I'm going to talk to my friends because, he's been privy to some pretty crazy things that I'm going to expand on here in a second. So he's let go from Area 51, laid off. He doesn't know why. His wife just left him. He doesn't know why. So he goes to his friends and he's like, dude, you know that job that I told you I was working at? I'm actually working for Area 51. Well, actually S4, right around the mountain there. We've been seeing UFOs. There's 9 of them there. I've got pet names for them. One's a sports model. One's the family model. And they're asking me to regenerate or recreate how to make the turbine engines work, how to make these engines work, to make them fly. And his friends were like, yeah, nice one. Good. That's great, Bob. Really good. He couldn't tell anybody about this. The only reason he started telling people is he was scared for his life, for good reason. Because back in the day, the government, as I led into this conversation, made people who saw anything crazy or were a part of anything government related to UFOs ostracized, like they were crazy people. Okay, so Bob tells his friends this, right? And then they don't believe him. So Bob says, "Okay, come with me." So 3:00 in the morning, Bob takes his buddies, man. And I wish I was friends with this guy, man. These are the friends I want. No offense, Brad. You too. These are the friends I want.
Thanks, man.
So no, you know what I mean? Like, you can be involved. So he takes his friends to Area 51 on this part, and 3, 2, 1. Watch this. Stuff's flying around. His buddies like, oh, holy shit. So this goes on for like weeks. He's taking his buddies there, showing them this shit. One night, a blue light rolls up, and they're like, what's that? They turn on a flashlight, and in front of them are like half a dozen military guys with infrared cameras and machine guns.
Okay.
He gets busted. Now he's busted. Now the shit hits the fan. Okay. Sorry, the shit hits the fan. I'm going to cut myself. Shit hits the fan, man. Okay, so now he's not just laid off.
Yeah.
He's in trouble. They're phoning him saying, you fucked up, and hanging up. That's it. You made a huge mistake hanging up. He's going home. His house is changed. People are looking for shit. They're thinking he took stuff from S4, from Area 51. Okay. He doesn't know what's going on. So he panics. And this is all on TV, man. You can find all this. He goes, 1989, he goes to the public television, and he, for my life, I'm going to tell you what happened here. There was 9 UFOs, discs, They were found from an archaeologist dig decades ago. They haven't been able to figure out what to do with them. I was brought in as a team to recreate how the jet, how they made a move. Okay. The problem with this was, he said, follow me. This is where I start to just go and fall in love with this guy. Check this out. Because this is like, okay, and this is how the military would do it. Okay. I'm brought in to work on how to make it rise, how to make it fly. He draws pictures. Watch the documentary.
Okay.
But the other teams working on this UFO disc to make it work again were not allowed to talk to each other. So he was working on one segment, and well, how are you making this operate from there? Oh, you're not allowed to talk to those people. So they were segregated from each operation. So in his opinion, the way they were working on it, it was never going to happen. Never going to happen. Now, another thing that he brought out, I just want to hit on some finer points of this because this is so huge. And this guy is brilliant. This is amazing. Okay. Brent, how many times have you had a construction worker friend, who's brilliant at building houses today? You get up the computer, you cut it, you saw it, whatever, telling you how pyramids were built. Now, the people who were building pyramids did not have television. They didn't have proper clothing. They didn't have the proper food. They didn't have entertainment. Their sky was their entertainment. When they're building a pyramid, they're not in the same frame of mind. They're not thinking the same way that we are today. I don't even think we could fathom how they were thinking.
Oh my God.
So when we see these people on television telling us how pyramids were built and their background is construction in modern day society, or even like 20 years ago, it doesn't make sense. Bob Lazar points out that instead of trying to build a big turbine jet to push things, what these discs are doing is dealing with the gravity. So let's put a bowling ball on a bed. What happens when you put your hand in front of the bowling ball, Brent?
Yeah,
it moves forward, buddy. They're manipulating the gravity in front of these discs. So we're not thinking the way that we should be. And this relates to me, myself, in how the world is thinking again. They're not thinking in the right way. They're thinking of, well, we need a war. And I've been watching all these documentaries about poor Bob Kennedy, like how war makes money. War makes money. Until the humans learn that is not the way to succeed, we are doomed. And Bob Lazar, without saying it the way I said it, that's his vibe. And I fucking
good luck
love
with
it, man.
I mean, I'm all about that side of it, especially on the pyramid side, because when you look at how they were made, and again, I come back to ancient alien theory, and it's the one that makes the most sense to me. And I'm not talking about, don't confuse that with Scientology and all the rest of it. I'm like, this is the one that makes the most sense to me. You've got things that were built millions of years ago, or whatever the hell,
it's hard to put a date on it now because they're always
hard to put a
changing
date on it with
cool.
Like intertwining block and brick that the people at the time had sticks to carve things out with. Give me a break. They had some help.
If it was off by like
especially on the pyramid side, if it's off by a millimeter, you don't have a pyramid, let alone a bunch of them lined up in a line.
Yeah. So
along
they were thinking differently than we do.
It's amazing.
They were thinking differently than we do today. I don't think that we could wrap our heads around what they were actually doing, which is cool. See, that's a buzz to me. That I catch a buzz off that, and to me,
the simplest theory is just that. To me, I like the idea that, in Peru you've got all the natural resources, so that's where all the the Aztec, all the kind of ruins and all these things are. But the pyramids, I'm all about the pyramids being very, very much extraterrestrial. Well, I think that there's something about them that's.
There's another thing I'd like to touch on maybe next week if I can, and I watched this experiment on sound on water, and it was just this tiny little vibration device and just a tap of water. Yeah. And when they change the vibration, Brent, the water, have you seen this? The water will look like a corkscrew. They change the vibration a little more and it looks like a wave. And this is tiny. So what they're saying is if you had one the size of like a car
What could you move with that?
Hmm. You know,
Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it, but
Okay,
well, sorry.
next week I'll get a clip of this because this thing is like tiny,
Yeah.
and it blew my mind. It just like, and the more so you crank the intensity of the sound wave, and it changed whatever the shape of the water. I'm
Mm.
talking, it was like a corkscrew, man. It
Yeah.
was friggin' cool. And again, the buzz I get off that dude, it's really neat, really neat. So again, I hate to just dive into these and dive out, right?
Well, it gets
I
people thinking. Everyone that's watching, listening, you can think about it for next week. It's gonna. That's the great thing about having your show, Chris, is that you can
well,
talk about this tomorrow.
we're gonna deep dive more. This is just
Yeah.
an overlay of what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
gonna hit and way more into this. So we're moving on next, my friend. So let's hit our intro out, and we'll hit our next
One more
one.
thing on that
Oh,
thing.
sorry, one more thing.
One more thing on that thing before we go.
Yeah.
The interesting part, which would add a whole bunch to this, is that I'm going to be very close to Egypt on Monday next week.
Mm.
Wouldn't that be something? Hey, we were just talking about this, and I could do a whole thing, but sadly, I don't think I'll be close enough to get any video. But I'll be very close there next week. So go ahead.
Some pictures, buddy. Even some
Yeah.
pictures. Holy crap. So I was touching on this earlier. The state of the Marvel cinematographic universe is like this. There's no
Cinematic, cinegraphic. What are we doing?
What should I say?
Cinematic.
Because it could be cinegraphic, couldn't it? Because everything is a whole what they do. Hey, dude, you called that good. I was right on too. Anyway, so we touched on this earlier when I started. The state of Marvel movies right now and DC is going to make you go back to, or hopefully, some movies that were made not by Marvel that you thought were good that now you're going to think are effing great, man. I rewatched Logan.
Amazing.
Dude, the Easter eggs, the moments, the Logan moments. Hugh Jackman, my friend. Can we just have an off mic applause for Hugh Jackman's Wolverine? Yeah.
Yes. Wonderful movie. Wonderful movie.
Oh my God, dude. The moments in there. There's a moment where little Laura, like if you haven't seen the movie, sorry, I'll go back a bit here. Here we go, buddy. You've seen it, right, Brent?
Oh yeah, I love this movie so much.
She's incredible. And she's grown up now too, right? She looks like Mila Kunis now.
Neil Young? Oh, sorry. What was that? She looks like who? Oh, Mila Kunis. Mila Kunis? Yeah.
I'm bad with pronouncing names, but she looks a little bit like her now. So she's a lot older than here, right? This is older. But she's so cute in this movie, and she just rips the crap out of people. Like, I want to draw her now, like in a room of just like soldiers, ripping it apart. Excuse me. So Wolverine is in this. Logan's in this. Well, it's more Logan than Wolverine. It's not Wolverine, and he's dying, and he's taking care of Professor Xavier.
Mm-hmm.
He also has Calvin with him. But if you've watched Apocalypse, X-Men Apocalypse, Calvin sold out all the mutants there, so they keep some continuity going between that. Nice. So Wolverine treats him like shit and even says, you know, man, you sold us out. You're lucky you're even here. So Calvin's kind of taking care of Professor Xavier while Logan's driving this limo just to try to make enough money to hide out on a boat. This is in the future. Mutants are no more. There's no more new mutants because of Mr. Sinister. This is amazing. So Professor Xavier is being drugged, right? Because his mind is a weapon now. It's a nuclear weapon, a world-changing weapon. So they've got him shut down. They want to basically catch him and end him. So Logan's hiding him in this dome, which is incredible, and has Calvin looking after him. So Professor Xavier is getting mental breaks where he's not taking his medicine, is connecting with this young girl, Laura, who is basically Wolverine's daughter from genetics. They took a sample of Wolverine and injected it into another person, another lady. And this will way more details in the movie. As I was saying, it's really, really cool. The graphic violence in it, I forgot, was amazing. This is a rated R movie, like claws going in through here and out through the top. I'm not talking just Logan doing it, the little girl, little Wolverine, Laura doing it, which is just wild.
It was cool because at that point, again, we had, I thought the Dark Knight and that sort of realm had, or at least Heath Ledger had created a new tone to comic book movies. It was very cool. And then you've got Logan and Deadpool kind of around the same time. I know you're going to get into it, but it had a very cool tone to it. It was very, very cool. It was like dark, evil. There was this darkness.
Well, that was the thing, and that was the thing about that movie. It was
Yeah.
finally time to see Wolverine cut loose, right? Or
Yeah.
Logan.
I
And
loved
he's
it.
dying in it, and man, like if you're a Marvel fan, an X-Men fan, you got to go back and rewatch it. I guarantee you're gonna get all new vibe and feels from it, man. When he goes, he's dying at the end, right? That's what it's about. When he dies, I almost had it. I just watched it like just before we went on air, man. And I was like going, holy shit! And there's a scene in there where Logan passes out, and Laura's just sitting. She just props herself up on the side of the truck. He's stretched out, and he just looks at her, or she just stares at him because she's finally found her dad, and it all makes sense to her.
Yeah.
And you can see it. She's not saying anything.
Yeah.
You can see it. And the dude that did the movie, I have him right here. He also did. Remember Girl Interrupted?
Oh yeah, with Angelina Jolie.
He did that movie. Yeah, it's what's his name here? James Mangold.
Oh, he's that. I quite like him as a filmmaker. Regardless, he's got a ton of really cool stuff. That guy.
Yeah, dude. No, it was like this was great. And then Donald Pierce, Boyd Holbrook played a great version of that, and he was one of Wolverine's old enemies as well. What we got? RB saying, Chris, I used. Wait, sorry. Oh, okay, here we go. I used one of your videos before years ago called "Easy to Play Metal Riff and Drop D," and I hope it was easy to play.
Okay, check this out, Chris. Before you go any further, so he's got some of my favorite movies. He's Copland. I forgot he did Copland.
Yes, he did Copland as well,
which was great. Girl Interrupted, Walk the Line, 310 to Yuma, which is killer. The Wolverine, Logan, which he got Academy Award for Best Screenplay. Ford versus Ferrari, which if you haven't seen, race fan or not, it's shot incredible. It's Christian Bale and Matt Damon, deadly, and he's directing the brand new Indiana Jones movie.
Wow.
So there you go.
Okay, so that gives you more reason to go back and rewatch that one, right, dude?
Yeah, I forgot. I was like, Mangold, yeah,
right?
Because Copland was I just watched it like
Sylvester Stallone.
Ago. Yeah, that's great.
So yeah, dude, great movie, and it's on Disney right now, of course. Don't you want to watch it again now?
Absolutely gonna watch it again. I actually, Alex hasn't seen it yet, so I'm gonna show it to him. So,
it's violent, but it's great. And the theme of it too, Wolverine. Everybody around me dies. Remember that.
Yeah.
Remember that. Oh, because they do. One more. So I'm gonna get this comment in a second here. Thank you, RB. 1 second. So this leading into Deadpool though. So we've got two of possibly the greatest Marvel movies ever, not done by Marvel. All right. Now they're going to join together, and we're going to have Hugh Jackman and
Ryan Reynolds
owning it, because we're not going to get my buddies Al and Bert going in. They're going, hey man, let's have some sushi. You know what we should do, Ryan? No, Ryan's not going to let that guy in, and he's going to kick his ass once he gets in there. Absolutely. So my point of doing this Logan 1-2 was kind of ramp everybody up towards this new Deadpool movie, because I really believe that it's going to be mint. Okay. Oh my God. And she better be back too. Zazie Beetz, who was in the Joker. Yeah. Look at that. Just leave that for a minute. That's badass.
Mm-hmm.
That is female badass, in my opinion. Dude, could you stare at that all night?
Yeah. Deadly.
It's deadly. That's deadly. Okay. RB, yes. The funny thing about what you're mentioning, thank you for the compliments on my video. That's one of my highest. I think I got like 70,000 views on that video, actually. If you haven't seen that video, give it 70,001 views, right, Brent?
That's right.
But that thing about the hurts on songs, yes, because that is healing, correct, my friend? And that's like the lo-fi sound. And it's so funny because when I originally started doing my solo, it is a conspiracy thing. It's a healing, because it's conspiracy because people don't know about it. When I first started doing my songs, Brent, that was the only frequency I could get my songs at, and they were so warm and old sounding, and I loved it. But it wasn't computer digital. It wasn't made, right?
Yeah.
Computer. So it didn't compare with what was going on. But I loved it. So apparently, though, that old vibe from the 70s and 60s, man, is good for you. It really is. So have you heard about that?
I have not heard about that.
Oh, dude, that's another one that you would love. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy. RB, you got to give me your proper name so I can actually carry something other than
I wonder
RB.
if that's why I wonder if that's why some of these bands that have come back into fruition, like, I'm not really a Sheepdogs guy, but I mean, they blew up, and Greta, are pulling from Zeppelin, but some of those tones, right?
Dude, those tones are healing tones. My
Yeah.
wife puts them on at night before she goes. See, that was brilliant. RB, whoever you are, thank you. Because my wife puts those tones on before she goes to sleep at night for an hour or however she falls asleep. But it has to be in the 432, 440. It's the healing, healing hurts, my friends. Okay. And that's great. But we got to move on. I'm sorry. We got to move on because we're almost out, Brent. What do we got next? Oh, dude, we're going to. Dude, we're gonna want to go on forever. Okay, so
I think we got a couple. We can run a little,
okay, let me quickly tee this up. Okay. Last time we were on the show, we had two amazing friends on here, and they're great people, but they really opened my eyes to the fact that a lot of folks do not see independent music as a lifestyle. They see it more political. And unless you're a political band, it couldn't be further from the truth. Being an indie band, an indie artist of any kind is a way of life. You do it because it tapped you. I have been playing music and writing music since I was about 12 years old, man, maybe even younger. I am 50 now. If somebody came to me, and people are going to say I'm a liar, but you will back me up on this, Brent. Let's say they came to me and found one of my old songs. I got a ton of them on here. And they said, dude, this video is great. This song is great. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to release it. We're going to package you with this guy. You're going to go on tour with him. Well, we'll meet you tomorrow in Toronto for the photo shoot. Brent, what would be my answer to that?
I have to leave the house. No.
It'd be F you. No, fuck you, man.
But,
where were you 20 years ago?
Obviously,
I would, again, me. Oh, sorry.
Well,
Dude,
20 years ago, I mean, we're all.
Where
piss
were you
and
20
vinegar.
years ago? But
Right.
regardless, man, I would no way know how to do that. I would love it if somebody spun my tune 100 times. I would love it if I played a gig at a bar and 200 people showed up. But as far as being the property of Ticketmaster, of Sony, of Universal, of Bob and Bill who come in and decide what I should be wearing, F that, man. And I bet you who I was talking to on that specific podcast, who my comments were directed at, Gary, would have an amazing story on this, because that friend of ours won a super big radio contest, and everybody in the scene is like, here we go. And he said, yeah, you know what? Moving to London, gonna make a t-shirt company. Gary, cheers, brother. Cheers. We're gonna have a friend on here named Rich McPherson, and I bet you he would say the same thing, man. He's a family man. He puts out so much music, so much good music.
And I think it's gonna be to each their own in that regard. But I do believe that.
My stress is on the ones that this is their choice. I don't want. Because my point was, Brent, when we had this conversation, you're making me expand more. When we had this conversation, I made a comment about how there's a venue in town that is the opposite of Ticketmaster, and I was called political. And it was like, and the only person that got it, really at that time, because you work for Ticketmaster, I get it, was the independent guy, Gary.
Not really.
I'm just saying, Gary was the only one that was like, not saying anything. I was, political, shut up, Chris. It's cool. But that got to me to my point. Indie music is not political. And when people looking from the outside think it is, it's not. You're not signing to a new label because you're like, I'm holding my sign because I'm not going to sign because I'm against society. No, it's not. It's because you believe in your craft. And that is a totally different thing. Plus, I know some
plus the needle's changed. The needle has changed a little bit here.
Well, here's the thing. Back in the day, Brent, when indie music was popular, and I'm going to bring my friend Jeff in. We were talking about this.
Yeah.
Big labels wouldn't commit. They would make a subsidiary label, and they would sign these new indie labels on there. So they were kind of signed, but they were kind of indie. Dude, I just had this. He's going to be on the show. We're going to go down to a coffee shop, and Jeff Pierce and I are going to expand on this issue, because they don't give you indie bands stay indie. They really do, man. And I'm going to dive so much more into this. It's going to be redonkulous. It's almost a conspiracy theory. But the cool thing is being called political on being indie really gave me my, you know what I mean? And that's good. I like that. Like, I really enjoy that. That's because I forget. Now, let's embarrass ourselves before we flex our indie muscles here, Brent. No, you get a split screen. Let's embarrass ourselves. You're going to go. So because we're going to talk, because we were in the indie scene
Absolutely. We still
when it was the birth of it all. When bands started things, the Bare Naked Ladies, man, we were on the same scene that they were in. Same scene they were in. Now, tell us a band that you're embarrassed that you listen to. Because we're about to sound really cool in a minute here, so we better just
embarrassed.
Dude, you know those bands that you listen to that you wouldn't want me to know?
Are you talking about back then?
To know?
Are you talking about back then or now or anytime?
Now. Like what? Like, I'm going to give you one of mine, obviously.
That's an interesting one.
My point is, we're about to flex our muscles on how cool we are in the music industry. So let's bring ourselves down a bit here.
Well, from a straight live standpoint and who I actually enjoy, I mean, throw it out there. But I've seen a ton of Coldplay shows and it's pretty great. So I'm embarrassed to say it.
Really?
Not sure if I'm in
Coldplay.
Yeah.
You know, I was gonna say like Quiet or Riot or something.
No. You saw bands that I might be embarrassed to say, but I'm actually, I think the guy.
I think I can trump that.
Sure.
MGK, man, that last album of his.
Oh, Machine Gun Kelly.
That last album of his. Yeah.
Well, listen, but that, what's funny to me though? That's not embarrassing at all as compared to what I just said. And this is why I say this, because
but Coldplay's pretty respect. You get Rich McPherson on here and he'll be like, yeah, man. Yeah,
cool. Well, I mean, I've seen it a few times out there. I've seen the thing.
Coldplay. I wouldn't have thought that would have been that.
I know, but there's a handful of tunes that they've got that I'm like, wow, it's a fucking great song.
So, as long as you don't say Imagine Dragons, I'm cool with it.
Why would I say that? So then
that's what I'm saying. I don't know. Why would you?
The MGK thing is very interesting to me because I still think about MGK being he's the grasper, and that's all. He's the guy that's like, he didn't quite make it in hip hop, and it's the thing that happens right now with a lot of bands. This has become a bit of a brand. So now he can kind of do anything. Because no matter what it is, it's mostly what is he doing. He's no different than a basketball player now, and I don't mean that.
He's just an all-around celebrity kind of.
It's just an all-around
fighter,
thing.
Jake Paul or something that.
Yeah, it's an all-around thing, and I don't fault him for it. He went after hip hop, it didn't work. He went after metal, but then he went on stage at metal and called out Corey Taylor.
I know.
You know what I mean? And that's
what I like about his music. Every song I enjoy has that. That's you put that drum beat in a song, and I'm like, oh man, but that's Travis Barker, right?
But you watch him in The Dirt, he was killer as Tommy Lee in The Dirt. So I mean, whatever.
I know, right?
The kid's got talent. I wouldn't. If we had an embarrassment meter going up here right now, I would say the majority of the people listening to this would go, oh no, Brent's story is way more embarrassing.
Really? Wow.
Well, because Coldplay are like a if you say you like Nickelback or something, they get lumped into the Coldplay Nickelback kind of like all this thing. But I don't. To me, I listen to music a little differently. You taught me a substantial amount about listening to music. But
so let's go back to
So
talking about indie music. So let's talk about why we have the right to talk about indie music. When we were starting out, man, let's go through the names, man. We had I Mother Earth just starting out. We had the Bare Naked Ladies just starting out, man. We had Our Lady Peace, man. Keep going. Who do we got?
I mean, Sum 41. Let's keep going. Sum 41, The Tea Party, Sum 41, Moist, all those bands at the same time.
And we were the
second wave. That was like 98. We were 93, 94. So.
No, I'm not talking I'm talking when we started. Remember,
that's what I mean,
that fresh. Remember that indie vibe? Canadian Music Week was like
Sloan.
Something. That's when Sloan was a little
before.
They
kind of set the bar.
We played with like the Killjoys. We played with Rusty. You know, we played just after Bare Naked Ladies. We could have played with them if we were not as heavy. Like we were a part of that scene. It was the kind of thing with posters you would see, like we'd be right in there, and the vibe of it was, if I remember correctly, how much can we fuck up the music that everybody's enjoying without making it unlistenable? And by that I mean like taking different genres. That was the early 90s was the time where it's like, wow, heavy metal's over, the pop thing is kind of everything kind of came to a fruition in the 90s, and it had like a reset button almost, where it was like, okay, who's going to throw out what we're gonna listen to. And you had like I'd never dance for another, and then you'd hear like One More Astronaut by I Mother Earth, and then it would jazz into like a Moby song.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like kind of like the era in music where it was like, okay, guys, doesn't matter what genre it is, let's just see it be original. And they would, you know what I mean?
There's so many bands that it's happening a
Glue
little
Leg.
bit. It's Glue Leg, yeah. Glue Leg was one of those. Um, that was the power of radio back then, though. That's when we listened to the radio to get our shit. It doesn't happen anymore. That's when we listened to radio. That's when we listened to Brother Bill and all those guys to tell us, and even Dean, to tell us not necessarily what to listen to, but like Martin Streak. Who didn't tune into Martin Streak on a Thursday night? If Martin was like brand new Tool coming out right now, everyone's got to listen to it. We were like, yes, we must listen to it because he said that we must listen to it. So, yeah.
But also, those guys
thing.
were not just talking about Tool. The next sentence, they'd be talking about Rusty playing up the street with
Totally.
Mr. Machete.
Amazing.
So my point is that you're being mentioned in the same breath.
Yeah.
The Motley Crue days were over at that point, man. That was
Yeah.
the last thing people wanted to hear about. So you were being mentioned in this. They play Pearl Jam, then they talk about, the Watchmen playing up the street. You know what I mean? The Doughboys. It was so friggin' cool, dude. And this is why I wanted to embarrass ourselves a bit before this, because if you really think back about it, see, you haven't quite hit 50 yet, man. Wait till your number hits 50. You just kind of click that button and you're like,
not for a little while.
What?
Not for a little while.
I can't hear you, man.
Not for a little while.
Well, I don't care. That's what I'm saying. Well, because I'm telling
When I
you,
hit
you're going
50,
to enjoy
though,
it.
yes.
But that's for me is when I hit that kind of like, all right, let's look back on my life and see what was really important and what I've been a part of. And that is huge, dude. When
Big time.
is that going to happen again? When the world just says, "What kind of music you got? I don't care if it's indie. We're going to listen to it." And also, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that's when Canadian music started actually making an imprint in the world. Am I wrong? I don't know.
No, I think you're right. I just actually talked about
Shania
this.
Twain.
I just talked about this the other day with Tara Sloan. She was on my first show of the new show, and she was in
She plays in the band Sloan, right?
No, she was in Joy Drop. But she was in Joy Drop, and they Tommy Lee in the video, about to break, had, to your point, had a deal with BMG out of New York called Tommy Boy Records, and there was just too many factors, and they had to. At that point, you were faced with breaking. You just had to break up. You just had to break up because it's like you're too far in on the deal. You can't
make more money breaking up from
you
being
can't
in the
keep
deal.
going as a band because every single time you move as a band, you owe us, and that's gone on for decades and years. But a very interesting point though, Chris, is that you're right. I mean, it was a very amazing time.
Anything could be popular. Anything, and the live shows were so crucial too.
Oh my god.
The live, the vibe, like the word on the street was "You got us." I remember bands like Figure 4. They were huge in Oshawa, and they had this like attitude and mystique to them. But if you threw them out just randomly in another town or city, nobody would give a shit.
You know what
right?
was a good example of that though for us? There was a couple of different ones for us. For an example, we did a lot
in Oshawa, man. We
did a lot with the Headstones, and I remember
shows. We did a lot of shows.
We did a lot of shows with Headstones, and I just remember Dale being like, and they gave everybody. They gave the Modern Day Braves. They gave all these bands, Odin Red. They gave all these bands an opportunity to play with them. But I just remember Dale being so like, there's every band that we bring to open up with us has a different vibe, and these guys are, the Braves are more like the chilled crowsy kind of vibe. These guys are like this. That band's like a metal band. And he goes, but you guys do the Rock Pyramid, so there's just a difference, and you guys just created this really awesome kind of vibe, and that was an interesting one. And then when we did some Sum 41 stuff, when we first played with Sum 41. It was out there that they were popping and ready to go, but
they got signed a week after we did their tour with them.
Right,
like
and
a week after we finished touring with them, they took off.
Right,
so
and
we were just to express. Sorry, we toured with Sum 41 when they were working out their bugs. When Greg Norrie would show up and like give them shit after, and we'd watch, and still back when bar managers would like tell them what to do and they'd listen. So that would be actually a great video. It's like, yeah, Sum 41 were yeah, they're really cool, but we knew them when they got told what to do.
Yeah, and the funny part about that was playing those shows, and at that point I had to talk to Derek on the phone because
Right.
Derek was kind of booking shows, and him and I
Yeah.
were, we were doing the same thing for the band,
Yeah.
and we would do like 2.5, 3 hour conversations about the scene and blah blah blah. But I remember the first phone call I had with him, and he's like, "You guys are the guys doing that. You kind of do what we do," and I just remember it being like, yeah, and they had bigger songs, bigger production, bigger everything, but it was like, yeah, and so our reputation, despite whatever, to your point about playing live and how important it was, is that we had that reputation, and we weren't copying them; we were also doing it, and I'd wager we were doing it before them. You listen to Pantera for Bieber
Plus
any day. Well,
like,
there you go.
You
RV,
didn't, but Dent and I partied so hard, and we were always the guys that were like, "Hey, pitcher of beer, yeah!" And then
yeah,
it was just we knew how to. It was you know what the thing was, Brent. And this is the indie vibe. When we were in Mr. Machete, man, we played keg parties, we played field parties, we played bars, we played small halls, and it was kind of like it would be really cool to play the bigger events, but I would just at that time it was more like things that I'd love to open for Trigger Happy.
Yeah.
Could we get on that show at the Eclipse with Rusty? And that was so cool because that was the scene.
So
that was the scene.
Let me throw something at you then before we go. How different is that then than now? We have an independent.
It's ridiculous.
We have an independent podcast.
Yeah.
You have an independent comic book company.
Yeah.
We're fighting every week.
Us. Yeah.
You have an independent comic book company. Like I'm just saying, you and your wife, but I'm just saying you guys have this company. We have an independent podcast on a big media network. We're all trying to get views. You're trying to sell comics. It hasn't changed since 25 years ago or 30 years ago when we met. It's just, it's different.
You know what's different now?
Yeah.
There's the struggle. There's no struggle anymore because
no,
again,
we can do
you
it
hit 50.
Yeah.
I hit 50 and I look back and I got that swagger now. It's like, hey man, dude, check this picture out. Oh, never mind. And I don't have to brag about it. It's just kind of like
I was thinking the other day about it though, because a couple of songs had come on my playlist, and I got old Machete stuff on there. I got old Caliber, some stuff come on, and Chemical Cocktail came on, and that was a great. I thought that was when we hit a pretty good stride on songwriting, even though it was Caliber, and I'm listening to it, and right after that, there's a song called Infinity Machine that came on from My Mother Earth that they did with Brian on that blue green orange record, and I'm listening to him going, holy shit, it's the exact same song.
Wow.
But we just subconsciously, we were writing them, whatever. But I would, was influenced a certain way by that point.
Probably just your drum beat.
It was just so funny. It was just like,
beat.
I'm listening to these things going like, how much weight.
Your secret's blown now, dude. I'm going to start listening to all our songs and listening to Die Mother Earth and see what happened there.
Well, you'll hear it on at least 2 things.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm just saying, but that song was like, it was more like I love the hit and then the great kind of flow chorus that we had put in place in there, which was like the driving down the street on the beach, which I had found, and it's no different than like listening to a song going, God, I'd love to have a song like that. That flows.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of
whenever I hear that,
yeah.
Oh, dude, I'm writing a song in my head,
which you've done already. You did it with the indie music that you did, the independent record.
I've written tons. I've written
your
hundreds
solo
of
record
songs,
that you did.
You know what the funny thing is that I'm sitting on about 10 songs that I think are the best songs I've ever written, and whenever I get close to sending them off to my buddy Carl, who I like to work with here in Kingston, I get such bad anxiety, dude, and I got to shut it down. I wish I could describe the anxiety I got.
You know what you got to do at this point. You know what you got to do at this point. You know what you got to do at this point if you think that is that you just gotta you let them go, like you give it to him and then you just see what comes back.
Well, that's the thing is because I know they're good songs. I just mentioned they're the best songs of my life.
Yeah,
dude.
but just
we've written some great stuff. These songs are like actually adult focused, smart written songs.
I believe it.
I know he's gonna be like, he's not gonna say, well, Chris, I don't know if I want to work on these. Carl's a great guy, and he's gonna be like, yeah, man, why don't we do this? This is gonna be cool, and then it's gonna start going forward. That's I get that anxiety. It's just, dude, I can't.
But what are you doing it for? If you're just doing it for the catalog to have, you're not trying to get
my
a
brain
record deal.
That's the problem.
You're not trying to get a record deal. This is the best time in anyone in all of our lives right now to be as creative as humanly possible. and no one deserves to have a great record out more than you. So just make one. Just do it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Just do the
Anxiety's
record.
not good. I'm getting a note. What
You
we
got one
here?
fucking person that'll listen to it, anyways.
I know. That's,
Like, so listen to it.
I don't know. I just feel anxiety just from the past of it. It's another. I'm gonna have to do a mental health episode and really dive into that. But one more segment, my friend. And so I just introduced this guy. This guy's nervous, man. All right. Brent actually hasn't met Greg yet.
Let's put him at ease.
That'll be a fun episode when Brent meets Greg. So we're gonna do a comic book section here, and we're gonna throw it over to Greg. Okay, here we go.
Oh, hey, Greg.
Hello, my name is Greg Beginning, and I am on the show to talk about comic books, and I love comic books, and I'm the guy to talk about them because I love comic books. I'm going to talk about new comic books, old comic book gems, basically, because I love comic books. It's my favorite. It's on the show. It's the Machete, right? Machete show. And it's comic books, what? Mm-hmm.
Poor guy.
Where'd you meet Greg? Where'd you meet Greg? He looks like he should have a show. He needs to have a show on public access television. That's right. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, you're nice to him when he talks to him, okay? I think
he's a little sideways, maybe. He's a little nervous. That's
Dude's
fine.
a little nervous. Be nice
He's
to
a
him
little
when you talk
nervous.
to him.
He's a little nervous. We've all been a little nervous. Can't wait to meet him.
Oh my god! All right, it's gonna happen sooner than later, man. All right, that was fun.
Yep, that's the first one.
That was good.
There it is.
There we go.
Live from Machete Comics.
Yeah, that's it.
The brand new show that sometimes I'll be here for, sometimes I won't be, but sometimes
Maybe.
you'll have somebody else there and other people come in, maybe co-hosts, maybe other kind of people. I don't know. You got things going on though.
I got some rad stuff lined up, man. I got some independent musicians. Rich McPherson's coming on the show. I got my buddy Jeff from Moist coming on the show. We've got some comic book artists coming on the show. A family of comic book artists, man. I'm so looking forward to that one. Yeah, so I've got 3, and I'm going to do them in person, I think, those ones, and we'll see who else we can get going on. But thank you for tuning in, everybody. That was brilliant. Sorry about losing it at the end. I just feel bad for that guy. It's his first TV exposure, man. It's like...
Check his fingers. I don't know if he's got cheese doodles on him, but
I'm sure he'll get more confident as he gets going.
That's right.
All right, buddy. It's good to see you again, Brent. Planet Earth.
Dangerous Dorothy and Gracious Gary.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
You know, have you met Greg?
Yeah, thanks for dinner last night, folks. I think what I'm going to do, you know, it's funny because I was talking to them about, you know, Kennedy stuff. And I get deep with them when I talk. They were like watching the TV when all those things happened back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I my eyes are watering still. So I think I'm gonna have to do an interview with them and get their point of view of watching the TV and just seeing that happen.
That sounds like a whole new segment, regardless.
Yeah.
Dinner with Gracious Gary and Dangerous Dorothy.
Yes, and then we can go back on. We can talk about a conspiracy. We can talk about popular assassinations.
I think I'll only be here in recorded form next week. As I said, I'll be on a plane in a place, so I'm gonna be.
That's pretty cool, though.
Over that way, doing some stuff. But hey,
groovy,
you know, doing some shows.
All right, buddy.
All right. What do we need to know? How are we ending it? Are we doing Good Time Rad Dudes? Is there a new thing?
Well, for now, let's do Good Time Rad Dudes because I think that would be a good salute to Zig, and everything we do should end with a good salute to Zig. So
I think so. I think Good
I'll
Time
start
Rad
this time
Dudes.
though. Good times.
Rad Dudes.
All right. Cheers, folks.
All right, everybody. Take care.
Party on, be excellent to each other. Thanks, Lonnie.